Usually just take your 3 resources, stick them off to the side, and you'll also notice you have spaceships, and each spaceship has a corresponding tile, which is the starting tile that you're going to be using. So in this case, you can see this is the green spaceship. You can see the highlights on it. Here's the green spaceship. The only tile you don't want to put in the bag is the black hole tile. The black hole tile will come into play later in the game, so you set that aside. Then we'll put these out. Just put out random tiles, whatever you happen to get. Because each person will take a color and start in one corner. The yellow ship, on their turn, right now their ship is consisting of just this one tile, and all they can do to start their turn, they will produce energy, so they'll take an energy token. They can store it because of these icons here. You can see they can store 2 of the metal alloy, 2 energy, and 2 of the carbon ore. That's the blue one. And so to start their turn, they will get their production, which is 1 energy. They'll stick it on their ship right there, and then they can move their ship up to 3 spaces. They can also pay an energy once per turn to move up to 6 spaces. So let's say they only want to move 3 spaces. They could move anywhere on the board that is orthogonal, left and right, up and down, but not diagonally, and they will be able to move and pick up anything they'd like along the route. On their turn, they can pick up anything they start on or end on or in between, and they can either pick up 2 asteroids, which are these. You can see in this case you get 2 metal alloy. If you pick this one up, you get a carbon ore and an energy. You'll see the resources corresponding to the tile. So say this particular move, they wanted to go 1, 2, 3. They could either pick up 2 of these asteroids, or they can pick up 1 ship component and attach it to their ship, which will then be good for victory points and more storage, production, etc. In this case, they only have 1 energy. They couldn't really attach anything to their ship. So let's say they take these 2 tiles, and that's their turn. So they would get 2 metal alloy, 1 carbon ore, and 1 energy. And so they'll just discard these, set them aside, get their 2 red, 1 blue, 1 yellow, and in this case they can store those because they have the capacity. They can store 2 of each on their ship. Now this player, being smart, knows that they can spend an energy to go 3 more spaces, and in this case they already have 2 energy, so at the beginning of their next turn they're not going to be able to store another energy anyway. They're going to burn an energy and move 3 spaces to a ship component they want. Let's say they move to right here and they end their turn there. Then, to end the turn, they just draw a tile from the bag and choose where they want to put that tile. It can be anywhere they like on the edges of the board, and it pushes the tile. So if you put it here, it would push all these pieces down, including the red player would then fall off the board. Let's say that they do that. It moves everything down, including the space that was there. This piece is then discarded into the discard area, and then this space, this ship is now off. So on red player's turn, he or she will get to come back onto the board, but anywhere along this side that they came off. But it will cost them 1 of their 3 moves to come back on. So say they wanted to go get this tile here. They could go 1, 2, 3. They'd have to pay an energy to be able to go more spaces, 4, 5, 6 if they wanted. But they can come on anywhere where they fell off. So we'll say that it's gone around, and now it's yellow's turn. Yellow now has an energy, an ore, and 2 metal alloy. And so they can, on their turn, they'll get their free energy. And then they will let's say they want to pick up this piece that they just camped on. You can see what this piece does. You can either pick up 2 asteroids or 1 ship piece. The ship piece you can either use to attach to your ship, and in this case, your base ship, I'll move these resources, your base ship does not have any resource cost to attach to it. It's free. All the other pieces, you can see this one here, if you attach it here, you'll have to pay an energy, you'll have to pay a metal alloy, or a carbon ore, depending on what you're getting. What this tile tells you is you can also, instead of attaching this to your ship, you can also junk it, which means you could throw this tile out and get 1 metal alloy and 2 energy instead of attaching this to your ship. You can't hold pieces till later. You have to be able to keep them. So in this case, they're going to keep that. They'll then pay that resource cost, which is 1 energy. So they have to pay that to the bank to attach that. This will now allow them to store 2 more of the metal alloy on their ship. 2 here and 2 here. They also, when they connect this, they will have to pay the resource on both sides. So say next turn they decide to connect this one on their next turn. To connect here, they'd have to pay 2 ore and 1 metal alloy, so 2 blue and 1 red, to the bank to be able to connect this. And you'll just continue to proceed. You'll draw tiles, rotate around, kick people off, move around. You can kick yourself off. You can't go through any of the tiles someone else is on. You just have to go around them if there's somebody in the way. You also, the only other rule about the kicking off of tiles is that you cannot take a tile that was here, say it just got put on, that tile cannot come off the board until the person who put it on has a chance to either get it or reject it. So you can't push it again this opposite direction or even this way to kick this tile off. Everyone has to have a shot at getting a new tile that's come on the board. Player has then attached this one here, and say they went out and got another tile here. This one, obviously they cannot attach this piece here like that because there's no connection here between your base ship and the thing. It has to go like that. And in this case they have to pay 3 ore and 1 energy, which would be really expensive, and since they can only hold 2 ore, there's no way they would be able to attach this unless they had some additional ore storage. So after the first person has reached 4 additions, then the black hole will go into the game. You put it in the bag after the 4th play. You don't necessarily get it out of the bag until it may be later in the game. You don't know when it's going to come out. But the way the black hole works is you put it somewhere in the middle. In this case, there's no open spaces. There's one, but it has a ship on it. So you can't put it there. You have to put it on one of the other spaces. And so you can discard whichever tile you want, put this in, sucks everything toward it. So you keep the ships where they are unless they're on a tile, and you suck everything down. So in this case, you want to suck everything as close as possible to that. So these will come down, this will come over, those will come over, this will be over here because it's closer there than here. This will come down. In this case, this will actually go underneath that ship. This will come down, or you could also do this. Basically, the person doing it gets to decide how they want to do it, but you want to get all the pieces as close as they can to the black hole. So it will suck everything toward the middle. It's a one-time gravitational event, and that's all it will do. After that, you have to negotiate around it. There's also one other tile that can come into play, which is called the wormhole tile. You can see that. It goes in the bag at the beginning of the game. It may or may not come out to start the game. When it comes out, it stays where it goes. If you draw it, you can put it wherever you want in the open space. Let's say that it was put right here though at the time because somebody drew it and there's an open space there. If you can go 3 spaces on your turn, if you go through the wormhole on your turn, it adds 2 spaces to your turn. So instead of 3, you can go 5 if you go through the wormhole. You can't camp on the wormhole. You can't stay on the wormhole, but you can go through it. So if this player wanted to get over here and didn't have enough energy, or didn't have enough moves, you go 1, 2, 3. Now it can move 2 more because it's gone through there, 4, 5, and it could burn an energy to go 3 more spaces, so it could get there in 7 spaces. Otherwise, if without the wormhole, it wouldn't be able to get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It couldn't get there without the wormhole. It has to go around the black hole. If something does get pushed off, let's say that somebody draws a tile and they push this, and this would pop through the wormhole, and these would pop off the end as well. And this tile would be discarded, and this player would be sitting over here, and they could come in next turn on that side. So for scoring, let's show you how the scoring works. This one isn't worth anything. It has no point value. This one has a 1, a 3, and a 1. So that's worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points is your total score. In a real game, you'll probably have 9, 10, or maybe even 11 ship components, so you'll score higher than this. But this is an example. You would have 1 point for that because it's fully closed off. This one here is worth 3, but it's worth -1 for being open, and then -1 per opening. So this one is worth 3, 2, 1. It's only worth 1. So you've got 1, 2. This piece is worth 1 point, but it's also -1 for being unclosed, and then -1 per opening. So it's -1, 2, 3. So -3 points plus the 1, it's -2. So -2 plus 1 is 0. This ship is worth nothing. If you were to do something like this and seal it off, or say something like this, and then say something like this, you could see how this one would score. Now these are all fully closed. 3, 4, 5, 6. This is worth 2, but it's -1 minus another, so it's worth 0. So your whole ship would be worth 6 points.